Welcome to the halftime report here on Bear Football on the Barroom Network. John McCone alongside Aldo Condia and Tyler Ellis. The Chicago Bears leading at halftime, something we haven't seen for a while, or at least we haven't felt like we've seen for a while. They're up over on, I guess, 10 points over the Detroit Lions right now. So, guys, just a quick halftime check-in. What do you see from this Bears team? It's a little different from the team we've seen the last 5 weeks. Aldo.
Well, I think what we're seeing is Bill Lazor's influence on the play calling. He's been much more confident calling the run game. Even in that very first series where Cordero Patterson started off the game with an excellent kickoff return, I think it was for 45 yards, gave the Bears excellent field position. And then on a first down play, Mitch Trubisky threw an incomplete pass. On a second down play, Montgomery picked up 8 yards. And then on a third down play, 3rd and 2 to pick up the first down, a running play to Montgomery was called. He failed to pick it up. Normally in the past, what we see is Matt Nagy then give up on the run game. And Bill Lazor did not. He kept pushing the run game, and the stats look outstanding for the Chicago Bears in terms of their rushing game. We've got David Montgomery, 11 for 62, 2 touchdowns. Cordero Patterson, 7 for 41, 1 touchdown, outpacing the Lions, their leading rusher, 8 for 36, Adrian Peterson, and a touchdown. And so this is really, really valuable for this offense. Establish the run. Stick with it. Play Chicago Bears football. That's what I'm seeing in this first half, and I hope it continues.
Gaines, what do you got?
I'm gonna give two different ways I'm feeling, John, Aldo, and great stuff, both of you guys. Good to see you, gentlemen. The game starts out, and the Bears score in their first 3 possessions. First time since 2018. You guys saw that. But then, John, the whole first quarter, the second quarter, I'm like, I'm not going to be fooled by this fool's gold. All right, I'm like, you know what? I'm right. Let me. We're still 3 for 36 on third down with 10 yards or more. We're going against the Lions, so I'm like, I'm gonna talk to John. John's gonna bring me back to reality. So let me just see what I'm seeing. But then, like, all of a sudden, Mitch freaking Trubisky throwing bullets, man, throwing bullets, John. Like, I'm like, wait a minute. First, I was like, I wasn't paying attention. I'm just like, that's good stuff, bro. Good stuff. Then I said, wait a minute. Wide receiver sitting down into the zone. They're running the counter. We got David Montgomery following the blocks true to the B gap. I mean, we got guys coming off of blocks. I'm like, wait a minute. It's not about what the Lions are not doing, John. I saw Mr. Trubisky standing back, licking his lips and letting something rip and throwing to Allen Robinson in stride, ladies and gentlemen. Not behind him where he can get picked off. Not in front. There was one that was kind of took it back. It was kind of too late. That one got picked off. But leading up to it, after Matthew Stafford started off super streaky. But then what? The Bears actually clapping down. Besides Buster Screen and a couple of things by Johnson, a couple of rookie mistakes on a couple of things. I like the of what we're doing, not what the Lions are going to give us. I think we're veterans enough into this game to understand who we're playing. We understand who we are, John. So what do you think? It's not about I'm excited about what we're doing, not what the Lions are giving us.
Yeah, I think you make a lot of good points there, and they are executing. Now, yes, the Lions are bad. They fired their coach. They fired their GM, but it would have been just as easy for the Bears to go in and roll over as well. They went in and they're executing the game plan, and they're doing it well. They're running the ball really well. They're staying committed to the run. After a few good runs, they didn't abandon it like they did against Green Bay. They're still pounding the rock a little bit. They're setting up some opportunities for Mitch Trubisky to make some plays. Defense is shaky a little bit, but they still came up with some plays. They stopped the Lions early on 4th down. I'm gonna be try to as balanced as I can on this, because like you say, there's some fool's gold in there. Understand who we're playing against, understand what the circumstances are here, but they are executing well. They came out and they're playing. I mean, I understand the kind of opponent they're playing, but they're playing much better than they had in the last 4 or 5 weeks. That being said, there's plenty to work on. I mean, the defense was a little shaky. There's still some things that need tightened up. I think the line is playing well. I think they found a combination on that line that is going to allow them to do what they want to do in this particular game, and hopefully that continues. But we'll see. I mean, if they come out and they play really well in the third quarter, then we have something to talk about because they're perennially a bad third quarter team. So we'll see what they actually do in the third quarter coming out here. But I'm trying to take this as I don't want to. I mean, we're getting a lot of comments, or that they're still bad, but we're also getting comments that they're playing so much better. I'm going to try to stay in the middle. I'm going to try to stay grounded here because they are playing well. I mean, because if they played a bad half of football, we'd be all over them because it's the Lions. But so they are playing well enough to get some praise here. But I also want to stay on the ground and not think, oh man, it's fixed, because I don't think it is. So overall, a good solid half of football. But let's see if they can put full 4 quarters together. Aldo, what would you like to see them do more? I mean, do you want them to kind of stay the course on what they're doing?
Well, pretty much stayed the course. They got to continue to rely on the run game. They got to wear out this Lions defense. They got to play hard-nosed Chicago Bears football. They should be smacking people in the face. They should be, I don't mind aggressive penalties. Yes, you want to keep your penalties low and maybe not at all, hopefully. But, if you're going to give me a penalty because you smack somebody in the face and you put the fear of God in your opponent, I'll take that. And so what is important is to inflict your will on this team, make them buckle down, put your heel on their neck, and excuse that reference, I apologize, but just take control and really beat the crap out of this team. That's important. Let's remember that the rest of the season, the caliber of opponents, with the exception of week 17, is very similar to this 4-5 or 4-6, whatever, Detroit Lions team. So if we can get a convincing win today, it's going to do so much for this Bears confidence for the next few games.
Gaines, what do you want to see out of this team?
I want to see us tighten up in the A gap, John. I mean, the Lions are bringing Adrian Peterson through that backside, the counter in the A gap, and that's what's getting the running back. That's what got Peterson to the second level. I want to see the referees pay more attention. That freaking pass was a push off. I don't understand how that wasn't. I don't understand how that wasn't
touchdown you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it was the Hail Mary on Kyle Fuller. I mean, I was just about to praise Fuller because he was going everywhere else. He was been picking on Buster Screen and Jalen Johnson. But that deep bomb pass, receiver clearly created separation with his arm. I mean, I just don't understand. I just tweeted that out a little second ago. But besides that, man, I'm inspired. I'm trying to temper myself, John. This is, man. I mean, I got to talk full transparency. I don't want this to get Matt Nagy off the hook. I'm done. Yeah. I'm not gonna I know I'm supposed to be positive or whatever, but I'm just keeping it real. From last week, I'm done with the shenanigans. I'm not gonna buy the crap anymore. We are cheering for this team. You guys made a lot of valid points last week, John. You and Alyssa made a lot of points this week on the show, bro. And so we care so much. We just want a good product. Don't tell us you have a good product and you're not using it correct. Everybody, they're talking about Mitch Trubisky. No. Don't put it on how Mitch is feeling, bro. How are you directing this team? What vision are you casting for this team? Are we going to come out here and fight? Is the defense going to lay down like we was getting questioned during the game? No, the leadership cannot get off the hot seat based on what Mitch is doing. It's two different things that we're looking at here. Mitch being in position, make the pass. I'm looking for Mitch to throw it to the open guy. Mitch checking it down to David Montgomery. These are do the simple things. Mitch, take what the defense is willing to give you and make them pay for it. That's what I want to see from my quarterback. But I don't want this, John and Aldo, to get Matt Nagy off the hook and even the front office, because, like you said, it's not fixed, because it's just more Bill Lazor right now than Matt Nagy.
Yeah, and I agree with you, and I feel like that's going to be a big talking point on the post game whenever we come up after the final whistle, whether they win or lose. If they do end up winning this game, I believe there's going to be a lot of activity from our listeners and social media saying, "That's great, you won, we're glad." But this doesn't mean that you fixed everything and all of a sudden, all is forgiven and this team is fixed and they're going to go into the playoffs and run through everybody. That's going to be the big talking point. And honestly, That's going to be the big talking point from here until the end of the season. If they do beat the Lions, if they do beat the Texans, if they do beat the Jaguars, all of which have fired their GM this year, and some of them, and two of them have fired their coach, one of which being the both positions. But they got three teams that don't have general managers right now. They played the Falcons, who don't have a coach, or they have an interim coach and a general manager. They're getting through the island of misfit teams, and they get the back end of that for the end of the season. So if they're going to get off the hook because they're able to beat teams that completely deconstructed themselves, that's a different conversation we got to have. Like, is it that big of an accomplishment? We're cheering for them to win. We want to see them win. I'm not gonna root for them to tank, or I don't want to see them lose to the Lions. So Matt Nagy gets tossed out. I want to see the Bears play well. I want to see them win. But I want there also to be plenty of context here to say, okay, that was a good win. Understand that this was like, you had to win this. This was win or absolute catastrophe.
Right.
So I think the third quarter will say a lot. What do you guys think about the defense maybe getting a little more aggressive after Matt Stafford? It looks like they're going to have some opportunities to really get after him. Khalil Mack was getting home. This would be a great opportunity maybe to dial up something for Robert Quinn to get going. I mean, I know it's week 13 or whatever, but maybe get your $70 million guy jump started a little bit. Maybe get him some pressure. Aldo, would you like to see the defense get a little more aggressive in the third quarter?
I don't think it's necessary to blitz. If you're beating them, 4-on-5, then continue to do that. But yeah, Stafford is getting a little bit too much time for comfort. The Lions have had essentially 4 major drives in the first half. They had the fifth one, you really don't count that because it was less than a minute that they got the ball. So, but they had 51 yards total offense in their first drive, 72 yards in their second drive, which yielded a touchdown. And then a 12-yard and punt drive, and then another 72-yard drive, although that one, you could say that like Tyler said, that was kind of a weird non-call there, that pass interference. But nonetheless, that's a lot of yardage that the Bears are giving up. And so I'd love to see them buckle down under, and typically what we see Chuck Pagano play is very, very loose when they have a lead. I'd like to see them actually be a little bit more aggressive, maybe not so much in terms of sending in pass rushers, extra pass rushers, but just getting into the face of these Lions receivers and bumping them and threatening them downfield and coming up with some turnovers. We'd love to see Eddie Jackson get that first interception of the season, because I believe, if I looked correctly, if I wasn't daydreaming or something, he still has 0 interceptions this year. That should not be. So we got to take care of that. Hopefully he comes up with one. And I know I'm a little ahead of you guys right now, but they just kicked off. So quick final thoughts from you two guys, and then turn it to the game.
No, let's bear down, and we'll talk about it after game.
There you go.
Got a lot to unpack. Let's do it.
That's right. We'll be back here immediately after the game. Thanks for tuning into the halftime report. We'll see you later.